Hi, in this short clip, we're going to move on in terms of creating our Google form for our online registration to our next section. Only a few more sections left of creating this form, and we're now on section 10. So we're going to continue. Obviously, this is how we create a new section, going to the sign that looks like an equal sign, keeping with consistency as we said. We're going to make sure that the label is the same and it says our registration form, and then we're going to add a title. This just allows us to give it some more information for the parents and carers to know what this section is about. And this particular section is going to be about our medical consent, which is what we normally on our paper base would get the parents and carers to sign. So obviously, being a digital form, this is a bit different in terms of how we get parents and carers to acknowledge. So just as a tip, you need to kind of review your GDPR policy around how you're looking at your data protection. But for us, we did some research, and we're happy that this, even though not 100% legally bounding in terms of consent, in terms of getting parents' consent, that we could use this method. So after we've put a title, we want to add a question, and this first question for us is about treatment if their child or young person has an accident on the playground or an emergency. So I give consent for the named children to receive emergency medical treatment in the event of an accident. And we just want to put all, and obviously we get rid of maybe because we can't have any maybes in this section. Still multiple choice, and then we just want to edit the no section to reflect what it says on our paper-based form, which is if you do not agree to these terms, unfortunately you will not be able to access our services, and that's mandatory. So we click the required bit of the form. The next section is obviously where simulating where the parent would have signed. So I'm just going to type in signed, and I'm going to leave it as a short answer, and that's just where the parent would sign, and they can just print their name. And that gives us a sense that obviously they're consenting to, if they've clicked yes and they've put their name there, then they're giving permission. The next one is we're going to add a title again. Or maybe not in this case. So I'm going to delete the title. I think we'll just have it as a question. And what we're going to do is just put medical consent information. And I think this time we're going to use these three dots, as I've talked about before, to add a bit more in the description side of things so that the parent and carer has got an understanding of what we're asking here. And we're just making a statement. I understand if my child has a fever, infection, contagious illness, or distress because of non-infectious illness, they cannot attend the adventure playground until they have fully recovered. In the event of my child falling ill whilst at an adventure playground, I agree that I or my emergency contact person will collect them without delay when required to do so by the adventure playground staff. So similar again, we're going to click all, delete maybe, and in this case, to replicate what's in our paper-based form, I'm just going to add a bit more to the no choice, and we're going to make this mandatory. And just like before, what we're going to do is add another question, which is not really a question, but it's just a space so that the parent and carer can print their name. So we're going to put signed, and we're going to change this to short answer, and we're going to make it required, and that's where the parent would sign to say that they've consented to the statement above if they've clicked yes. So that's it for this section. Like I said, it can reflect your paper-based form, or you can add more to it, but this is just the section of the form where we're starting to get some consent from the parent and carer who's completing the registration form for the child. We'll move on to the next section shortly.